Hello and welcome to Sportsphere here at Lesedi Television. My name is Motsewakhumo, your usual presenter, and today, as usual, we're going to be bringing to you sports news that happened over the weekend that has just passed. I'm not alone today to be taking a look at these issues. I'm with my usual suspect, that is Robert Siphambe. Let me take this time to welcome him before I tell you about the topics that we're going to be tackling here today. Robbie, let me take this time to welcome you, man.
Yeah, good afternoon, team, and good afternoon to the viewers and everyone who always make sure that they don't miss this show. And thank you for having me. It's always good to be here, team, you know.
I never stop asking you this question because I know that most of the weekend you are preoccupied by sport. What is it that you went to? What is it that you were doing that is sporting?
I think my weekends, I always have a routine that I do almost on weekends because I'm a football coach. Every time I coach, if I'm not coaching, I'm watching football at the grounds or the stadiums because I like going to the stadiums and experience and have that feel, the atmosphere of a stadium.
In today's episode, we're going to be tackling the issue. We're going to be talking about the MOSA, or Ministry of Sport and Art, projects that have been outlined in the NDP 12. Mostly we're going to be talking about infrastructures that are sport related. Robbie, we're going to be talking a bit of table tennis, netball, and finally, before we close, we're going to be taking a look at what happened in terms of football. That is first division and our FNB Premiership. Robbie, we're going straight to MOSA infrastructures.
Yeah.
That we saw in Parliament, the Minister of Sport and Arts, Mr. talking about them, and obviously I want us to take a look at some of the most interesting infrastructures that are eye-catching in his speech. For instance, he's talking about building a 40,000 stadium capacity, a stadium of 40,000 capacity here in Gaborone. I don't know whether it's going to be in Gaps or elsewhere, but this is a very welcome development. Not only that, he's also talking about a 10,000 capacity multi-purpose indoor sports arena. He's talking about building outdoor recreational spaces, refurbishment of existing sports complexes like your, I want to believe that your Monipole, which is not being used currently, and others, which is
Monipole, Masunga,
which are lying idle at the moment. And the other one is here, the Francistown Obed Idani Chilime Stadium will be roofed. What is your take on this development which will be coming?
Yeah, Tim, it's right. As today is a big day, as you know, the president is having the State of the Nation address. And when you link what the Minister of Sport has alluded and highlighted in terms of the developments that are coming in sports, these are the issues that every person in sports has been talking about, lack of those things. So if you hear such good news and you see a lineup of big infrastructure coming up as a sports person, you become happy. But the issue is going to be when. We should look at when those things are going to be happening. Because as they happen, how are they going to impact the sports in the country, and how are they going to help sports people in the country and everyone that is involved in sports? You know that infrastructure has always been a challenge to our country since since we started as a developing country and as we were growing. It's like the infrastructure part of sport has been left behind. But to see the minister highlighting such kind of developments is something that is very interesting, and we are going to see how it is going to come out. But for us, we wish these things can happen so that they help us in terms of sports. You're talking about the stadiums, you're talking about community areas where people can go and do a lot of recreational facilities. We don't have such kind of recreational facilities. We take, for example, in Gaborone, we only have the stadium, and we go, they have a lot of open spaces where we should be having recreational facilities, but we don't have. So we run short of infrastructure that we can use as recreation or as sports facilities around the country. You talk of those facilities, how are they going to help people? How are they going to help youth? How are they going to help the community at large? How are they going to help even the teams that are involved in each and every team, whether softball, football or karate? We need to have a facility where we know these activities, someone can go there and do those activities.
Robbie, are we going to see this infrastructure developments stimulating interest amongst the youth, amongst Botswana, to make sure that maybe sports becomes an alternative employment?
Yeah, it's very good, because when you talk of this infrastructure, they're going to create, firstly, try to solve issues of unemployment. As you know that the youth is the one that is hit hard by the unemployment. We see a lot of graduating in different universities, but they don't have where to go, especially in sports. So sports should create employment. So by bringing these facilities, we are definitely sure that there's going to be a creation of employment. So we talk about issues of drugs now. Young people are engaged in drugs. One of the reasons that we can maybe peak and say this is the reason why the youth is engaged in drugs is lack of facilities, lack of places, good places which are friendly for the youth to go and utilize. But to build those places where everyone has got access and everything. We are trying to reduce such kind of issues of drugs.
What is interesting about this, viewers at home, is the fact that these infrastructures, we are seeing that now are being spread around the country. They are not just being centered around maybe your major villages. We can see them that are being spread around the country. I don't know, Rob, sir, what does that mean? Does it mean now that you're going to be having access countrywide, for instance, how are you siding
even up north, yes.
We're going to be having some of these facilities being built on that part of the world.
Yeah, talent is everywhere, Timmy. Talent is everywhere. So the expectation is to see these facilities widely spread across the country, and we have a balanced equity in terms of distribution of these facilities.
Yeah.
So it's very good to have such kind of things, because everywhere in the country, in all corners, north, east, south, and west, we have talent that needs to utilize these facilities. We should not see these facilities centered around towns and cities only, but we should go to villages where we know they don't have a lot of entertainment, they don't have a lot of facilities that they can use. So these facilities follow the people, and people use them there.
The main worry, Robbie, has been the maintenance of some of the existing facilities. For instance, we just said, we mentioned the Masunga Sports Complex, the Sawa Sports Complex, the Molepola Sports Complex. They're now just white elephant. They're just lying there because of lack of maintenance.
Yeah, I think that is what we are expecting to hear from the State of the National Address. Issues of trying to solve the issues of maintenance and then making those resources sustainable for everyone to use. Of late, we've had a problem of managing these resources. You can even remember the Lobatse Stadium. It's a newly built Lobatse Stadium, but when you look at it, it looks old as the National Stadium because of issues of taking care of it, maintaining it, and making use of it. You go to offices, you go to the WCs, you find that they're dilapidated because maybe they're underutilized, they're not used, and you wonder when we talk of these big ones, we should have a plan of how we are going to maintain these.
Yeah. Let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at netball. Welcome back. Remember, this show is brought to you by Abotle Juice, which is giving us nourishment so that we keep on having this energy to inform you about the sporting activities that happen over the weekend. Like I said before we go for a commercial break, we are taking a look now at netball games that happened over the weekend. But before we go to the games, Wanarobi Rob, we saw Botswana Netball Association Executive Committee convening in Francistown, where they had at the same time the games playing there. They had some topics that they were tackling. I heard the president talking about them taking a look at the financial report and also looking at the constitution. How important it is that they should be making sure that, as you know, that they're new in the office, they have these things in place, they're sure about what to report to affiliates. And
Tim, if you remember well, this committee, we can say they are new in the committee, but they're not new. There are people who have been there in netball. And there are the same people who were complaining about what was happening in netball. And then in all the issues, they know all the issues that were there, and they know where their problems as Netball Association comes from. So I think for them, it is very important for them to reflect and look back and see what they have done, what was happening in the past, and then they take a look at where they are now. Because the new committee should have they should have a baseline where they know they should start. So one of the issues is look at your finances, how they were using their finances, and then evaluate their processes and everything, their internal processes on how they use the funds. Because going forward, they need to have that information. Remember, they will be going out to find sponsors. They need to have something to report and a baseline that this is where we are. We are looking for sponsors and this and this. The other thing, the second thing that is very important for netball is the constitution. I think they have to look at their constitution and review it, because previously they were talking about there are so many loopholes that they felt the outgoing committee that was voted out were using those loopholes. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have highlighted there, because the extraordinary meeting is the one that takes decisions on issues of the constitution. Yeah. So constitution, as strong as it is, it builds a strong association. True. So it's it was very, very important for them to go out there and look at the constitution that they are currently using, and then if there are some issues that they need to amend, then they can do that. The extraordinary Congress has the power to do that.
Yep, that is Botswana Netball Association killing two birds with one stone. They had the AGM running, and they also had the games going into the second week going there. Robbie, let's take a look at what transpired in terms of games there. I'm trying to run here to take a look at the results of the games that took place over the weekend in Francistown. It was the second week of the league, and we had teams like Tafik, we had teams like Nico, Uprising Stars, we had Prisons, it was there, we had Janeng, Thunderbolts, BDF, Maung Heroes, and Motwane also made it this time around. Like I said, it was the second week, and you can see that the momentum is building. Yeah. What people have been looking for is now becoming exciting.
Yeah, no, I think now they are rolling. The Netball Association, they are rolling. It's good to see teams like Tusk and Tafik coming back to netball. In the history of netball, you couldn't talk of netball games without Tusk and Tafik. Those were the teams that were brushing shoulders with Notwanis and your BDF cats. You remember, these are the teams, and those teams, BDF 11, Tusk, they are the teams that first started with male netball. So it's good to see them coming up now, participating in such kind of tournaments. A new team from Joanne, you see they're doing very well as well. And Notwani is continuing doing very well. You can remember the likes of Botswana in the past. They were playing for Notwani. They were doing very well in that team. So I can see that they are continuing where they left. It's good to see teams like Prisons, Police now doing their things there. Because if you have teams like BDF, Police, and Prisons, I'm telling you, your league is very much better, because you know these are the teams that will always honor the fixtures because they've got resources to go there.
Yeah. Robbie, what Botswana Netball Association has done is, because they know very well that they don't have a sponsor. Yeah. They are relying on the grant from Botswana National Sports Commission. They've decided that every weekend they have to make sure that they do what you call a netball festival, where they select a place, like for instance, go to Francistown and make sure that there are about 10 fixtures being played there. Yeah. Next weekend they will be in Maung, the other weekend they will be in Gaborone. What is your take on that? Making sure that at least you meet the teams halfway by giving them some money from Botswana National Sports Commission.
Yeah, even though the grant is not that much, if you can look at closely, you will see that their budget can go up to 5 million. But what they get from Botswana National Sports Commission is way less than. It's about 100 and something thousand, which cannot sustain them. But it's good to rotate the places, looking at their teams. This will reduce the burden of teams traveling almost every week. So you know, as a team, you are budgeting for the next journey, which is you're going one way. It's a one-way fixture. You are going to play all your games there. The other weekend you are moving. So it's much cheaper than traveling to Maung, traveling to Francistown, traveling to play one game and go back and go to the next weekend you go to Maung. It's very expensive. But for Netball Association to have taken a decision to rotate and cluster the competition in one place. It's going to help them maybe reduce the burden of expenses.
What is your impression so far about the Bona new executive committee?
We are still looking at them. They haven't done much that we can do. Let's give them a chance, maybe a year, and then we come and evaluate and reflect and see what they have done, because they have to make some changes. Like I was saying, there are people who were there, so they need to hit the ground running, because they've been there. The problem is that they were complaining. These are the same people who were complaining from the same club.
Yes.
So my expectation is that for them to come and directly solve the problems and not hit around the bush. Still, is to go straight to the issues that they were complaining about and address them. Now we are going to see how they are going to act, because now the talking and complaining when you are out, when you are not in leadership, is different than when you now have the power to take decisions.
Yeah.
So now they have the power into their hands to make decisions and change and adjust things there and then. So we are going to be looking at them and see how they are going to perform. Let's give them a chance and see how they can go.
Let's take a look at what transpired, the results of netball games that took place in Francistown. Tafik beat Nico by 45-34, and Tafik played again against Tusk. They won that game by 41-22. Nico played against Uprising, and they won that game by 42-12. Nico played against Notwani. During their first appearance, they won this game by 47-42 Prisons, winning against Tafik by 44 against 28 Tusk, being beaten by Joining Ladies. This is the ladies category, 46 by 21 Thunderbolts, being beaten by Prisons in the men's category by 65-13. BDF 38-41, losing to Notwani men. Maung Heroes losing to Policemen by 71-5, and Notwani again playing against Thunderbolts in the men's category, winning by 25-0. Police winning against Tafik. This one is in the ladies category by 59-15. Thunderbolts playing against Prisons, and Prisons in the men's category winning by 65-13. BDF Cat this time around also playing Maung Heroes in the ladies category and winning that one by 53-12. The last one, Joining, winning by 44-34 of Police Ladies. Very dominant play so far by Joining Ladies. They haven't lost a single game.
They haven't lost a single game. It's a new team, very vibrant, and you can see they've hosted national team games. They're a team that wants to turn Joining as a netball hub.
Yeah.
You can remember they hosted some series of events there at Joining when they were launching the teams. So it's a very powerful team. So my interest is going to see whether the team like BDF Cats, both men and women, they're going to dominate as they used to dominate in the past seasons. But I'm going to see how it is going to help, because you see even Police have got a strong team, both the ladies and the men.
We're moving away from netball now. We're going to table tennis, where myself in person, I went to Babusi Hall where the games are being held, and we're going for a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at table tennis, and then we're going to close by taking a look, Robbie, at football as usual.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. This show, remember, is brought to you by About the Juice. Before we go for a commercial break, we were tackling netball. But this time around now, we are changing our gears. We're going to another sport. We're going to table tennis. I went to Babusi Hall, where the Phoenix Assurance Super League is taking place here in Gaborone. And I can tell you that I saw a lot of exciting games between both men and women. It was so exciting. You missed out. But anyway, I know that next time you're going to be joining me there. Robbie, let's take a look at what transpired, because there were about 11 fixtures which were played there. 6 women's fixtures and 5 men's fixtures which were played over there. Like you can see the results, even though some of them were postponed, but a lot of activities took place. Indeed, I saw a lot of youth players taking part in this weekend activities. I don't know, what's your take on it? Because I believe that the future is in the hands of the youth.
Yeah, no, the future is in the hands of youth. But my interest is seeing Tsepiso Robatini dominating in the ladies, total dominance. Yeah. And I was expecting to see Constance Kuswani in the top 3, but she's in the top 5 when you look at the log. So which means Rabatene is always dominating in terms of ladies' side.
They had a break in, like we were reporting the other week that there were no league games. They went to play a tournament. One maybe was expecting to see the slump in the form, but we realized that they're still consistent in terms of the form.
Yeah, no, they are consistent. They are consistent. If you look at the players themselves, they need to be playing regularly so that they reach their peak. Where they are now, they've reached their peak. So it's very, very important for them to play continuously and bring better results. I'm telling you, as a player, you want to play every time, so that you improve and you refine your techniques and your tactics. So it's good for games to be coming fast, thick and fast, so that the players are also reach their peak at a level that they need it.
If you are sitting at home and asking yourself, what is it that we are talking about? We are talking about Phoenix Assurance Super League, which is having 12 male players and 12 female players. That is to say, each player, first round will be playing 11 games, second round will be playing 11 games, and the winner at the end of this competition will be getting away with 5,000 pula on each category. The least paid player will be getting 1,000 pula, which is a good development in terms of incentivizing, in terms of morale boost for players.
Yeah, so when you look at how where we are in terms of economical support, you will say 5,000 is much better than having nothing. But somebody can wish to have more prize money than that, because we were mentioning about 11 games first round and 22 games in total for one player. So you play 22 games for 5,000. Sometimes you feel the players are hard done, but there's nothing we can do. Half loaf is better than nothing.
Definitely. These are some of the results that came through. We saw Constance Kuswane playing against Gabriela Tsiaka, and she won 4 goes to 4 points to 0. Tiro Lesomo beating Lefatsiaka by the same scoreline 4-0. Solofelo Kawakalimelo playing against Buitlamo in Kelen. She won that game by 4 against 1. Boago Malobela playing against Lefatsiaka. He won by 4 points to 0. Khame Kibudiwang also played Masa Motlhabenen. She won by 4 against 2. These are some of the results that are coming, that came through over the weekend. Now we moving our attention to football. Robiro, we seen that Gaborone United Ladies is playing in Egypt in the 5th edition of the CAF Women's Champions League. What is your take on that? 8 teams are taking part there, but we happen to be one of the teams representing the Kosafa region after we dominated the Kosafa region just recently. I don't know, what is your take? As a country, we are happy that at least finally we're having a representative there.
Yeah, finally we're having a representative there, and if our United Ladies do well there, we might find ourselves having maybe 2 or 3 teams participating in that tournament. Their maiden tournament, if I'm not mistaken, for our United Ladies. But so far so good. If you look at how they started against JKT Queens, where they played it all draw, 0-0, and they missed some penalties then. Our United could have walked away with, and they're still having some big guns ahead to play. ASEC Mimosa, TP Mazembe, they are big guns. So for our United, I think this is a good start for them not to lose that match and start with a draw.
Definitely. Remember, like Robert is saying, they played in the first game in Group B against JKT Queens from Tanzania. We still have to play ASEC Mimosa from Ivory Coast. We still have to play TP Mazembe, who are the defending champions from DRC. Let us wish them the best. We're still waiting to see what is going to transpire there. Anything can happen. We're moving away from the CAF Women's Champions League. Now we're going to First Division South, where the results of Wikna Madan came through. Not only losing to Union Flamingo Santos by 2-0 Dinari, losing to Prisons by 1-0 Tamara Shooting Stars, winning against United by 1-0. Going United losing to Security Systems by 1-0. Holy Ghost and joining Young Stars playing 1-1 draw, and the other game which was played, Majeng beating Down Young Strikers by 2-1. I'm trying to run here, Robert, to see what transpired in the north. I don't know whether you have the results. Tsako North for Robbie Rob. Okay, fine. Let's forget about taking a look at the First Division North games, let's take a look at what transpired in the FNB Premiership. We're going to go back to First Division North to see what transpired. The results of the FNB Premiership came through, and some were shocking, but not too shocking. Tafik hosting Extension Gunners, and the two teams failing to hit the back of the net, 0-0. So Flamingos losing to BDF, that is a shocker, by 1-0. Morupule Wanderers.
Their second loss after
yes,
United.
Yes. Morupule Wanderers beating Calendar Stars by 3-0, and Nico United away beating Matebele by 2-1. Warapa United, in fact, hosting Gaborone United, and Warapa United losing by 1-0. Township Rollers, they seem to be back, hitting 4 against Santa Green.
When you look at Township Rollers, they were having issues administratively, but in terms of performance in the field, they were not having issues. You remember the time that they were having issues, they were on top of the log already.
Yeah.
So they did not have much time problem in terms of how they were playing.
Yeah.
They were affected in terms of administration and their committees and everything.
Yeah.
But their play continued, because I've seen a very good coach in their coach, Township Rollers. It's a team that will be battling for the Premiership title. But you can look at the team like Gaborone United on top of the log, and they're back there.
Yeah.
Look at the team like Johnny, they're trying to catch up a second from Gaborone United. It's going to be very interesting. Nico, I was telling you about Nico last time. Something is happening very good at Nico then. But my worry now is for Extension Gunners, Police 11 and Calendar Stars. But why is it that Extension Gunners every season, whenever they're in the Premiership, they're always battling for relegation? For the past 15 seasons, you can remember the history of Gunners. They've been surviving a relegation until they went the past 2 seasons. And then now they came back buying the status. Every time, why is it a team like Gunners every time being the only team that is always struggling? Even if you bring different personnel, what is it? Is it the culture of the team, or is it what? I don't know. These are the issues that maybe one day in the show we can look at such kind of teams like Botafiki, Bodebo Gunners that are always suffering in the league. The newcomers, they come, look at Santa Green is on top of them. Every team that comes, Bob Black Lions, they're on top of Extension Gunners. Gunners is a legend in the game. You can agree with me. Gunners, Botafiki, they are legends. Township Rollers, the money machine. These are the teams that we will be talking sustainability now, that they stamp their authority in the FNB Premiership. But they're always struggling.
Your guess is as good as mine. Let us take a look at the results of First Division North. Like I said earlier on, that we're going to announce them before we go. Tsabotle playing very well. I think this is their second game winning. They hammered Indonesia by 4-1. BR Highlanders winning by 1 goal against Ferry Wanderers. Sangoy Bushbucks and Dundu playing to a 0-all draw. Tonata FC continuing their winning streak by winning against JJ United by 2-1. The other 2 games, that is 11 Angels against Sikinyaga Tigers, was called off. Balakalungu as well against Motlakase Pyrodynamics, the game was called off. That is how things are happening in the North, Robbie. Unfortunately, Robbie, we are out of time. Let me take this time to thank you as usual. Looking forward to seeing you in our next episode.
Yeah, sports news never ends. We only have a problem with time, but thank you very much for having me in the show.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. We're looking forward to seeing you in the future. My name is Thomas. Thank you very much.